Welcome in, everybody. Thanks for watching and listening. We're talking The Night Agent on Netflix, Scream 6, available in theaters with Andre Anthony. Thanks for your time. It's a pleasure to meet you. And congratulations on having two projects out at once. That has to feel good.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, no, it's cool. Yeah, it just kind of happened that these two projects landed right after each other, and I'm glad that people are watching them.
I'm assuming you probably filmed them separately apart, like months, years, a year maybe, or were they sort of back to back?
It actually wasn't too much time. The Night Agent, we were filming about, I think we finished around May after I had to do a couple of reshoots. And then in June was when I went over to Montreal to do Scream. So they were pretty actually close to each other.
Well, we'll start with Scream. That was a fun film. We've had one of your co-stars, Thomas Gaudreau, we were talking, who had an epic scene in that. You as well.
Yeah.
This is fun, and this series, as I was mentioning previously to him, it's fun. I mean, this series has been around for a very long time if you count the films, the TV show, and all of that. So, what was your introduction into the universe? How did you become involved? I mean, obviously, you probably got an audition, but a better question would be what interested you and made you want to be a part of the franchise?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the franchise has been around for so long. I really love the first one. Um, and yeah, I was auditioning for this one. I auditioned for a couple of parts, and then a few days later, I found out they were going to offer me the role of Frankie. So I was super excited about that. And I had been fans of Matt and Tyler, the director,
Okay.
since I watched Ready or Not, which I absolutely loved, and I thought it was a great balance of comedy and suspense and horror. And then obviously Scream 5 was another great installment of the franchise. So I was super excited to be a part of it, and it was definitely a pleasure to be there and to work with them.
Yes, the great directors, and of it makes sense for them to take on the franchise and do another one.
Yeah.
I mean, they could just there's endless possibilities of the story. We had Jamie Kennedy on a few years ago, who
Mm.
was part of the original franchise, and he was talking about them possibly doing another film because the other one had not come out yet. So it was an idea, and they had approached him to be a part of it. And he was like, well, my character's dead. How can you do it? And they came up with a very creative way, obviously, his sister and the memorial and stuff. Well, it's a lot of fun. Well, you did a good job. I think people, if they haven't seen it yet, will certainly enjoy it. The Night Agent is such a smartly written show. Netflix has really nailed it as far as these types of stories being told. You have a very interesting character arc, a very interesting story in this series. And the idea and the concept behind it, you watch it and go, did you ever see the show Designated Survivor with Kiefer Sutherland? It kind of has a similar type of vibe.
Okay.
So, in any case, it's basically one person who exists in this world of government, president, White House, who is alone and is just set there to monitor a phone in case it rings, but they don't really trust that person to do what they're supposed to do if it does happen. And then all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose. How did you
Yes.
become involved with this project, The Night Agents?
You know what? So it's funny. At the time, I was in New York actually on holiday with my brother, and my agent forwarded me the project, The Night Agent, for an audition. And immediately, I was, doing a little bit of research, and I had found out that it was based on a book. So I had done the audition, and then I kind of started dipping my feet into what the story was,
Hmm.
by Matthew Quirk, who wrote the book. and it was immediately intriguing, even just kind of like the log line, like you were saying, a phone that never rings until one day it does, and essentially, like the Kiefer Sutherland show, all hell breaks loose. So yeah, I had an audition for that, and then about a few weeks later, I got offered the role of Mateo, and yeah, we just kind of dove right into it. But yeah, it was a really cool experience in the sense that working with Sean Ryan, who I was also a big fan of, and I think he's just so creative, and he comes up with all of these kinds of genius ways of keeping audiences engaged,
Mm.
while also staying true to the story that Matthew wrote. So yeah, it was a special one for sure.
Yes, and of course the rest of the cast does just a phenomenal job, and it's just a lot of fun to watch. It's on Netflix currently. Of course, Scream is in the theaters. When did you become interested in acting?
I when I was a kid, my mom was doing some auditions for commercials when I was really, really young, and
Hmm.
I was always kind of fascinated by that whole world. And she at the time was a little less inclined to put me in show business as a child, which I understand. But essentially, she said, if you're when you're older, if this is still something that you want to give a go, then I won't stop you. So, kind of towards the end of high school, I did my first play, and I just fell in love. I just kind of that experience of being on stage performing,
Hmm.
it really resonated with me, and then I continued to study theater at university.
Yeah, and here you are starring in two major projects and all of that. And I think both of them are great. Scream Again 6, which is so much fun. And of course, The Night Agent is really good too. And I think this was meant to be a limited series, right? As far as the episodes go.
Yeah, it's when Sean kind of talked about it, I think, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I think what his idea was kind of to make every season, if the audience was to receive it well, then to maybe kind of have like a completely different story, a new mission, and not necessarily have the whole cast back. Um, I think there were discussions at the beginning. Maybe this is just kind of a one season thing. But I'm pretty sure he always kind of had some ideas and plot lines prepared in case it continued on.
Wonderful. Well, Andre, thank you for your time and congratulations on both of these projects. Be sure to check out The Night Agent on Netflix and, of course, Scream, which is still available in theaters to watch. Again, just fun for both of them. Thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure meeting you and chatting with you today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.